Minister of Territorial Administration Paul Atanganji made an entry into Bamenda on Thursday, the 2nd of October 2025 evening for routine election supervision. The Cameroon U17 Lionesses are already in Morocco ahead of the FIFA's Women Football World Cup. Colombia expels Israeli diplomats over the detention of her citizens in the Sumut flotilla. This and more in this newscast. Now the news in details. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for tuning in. It's 7 p.m. and time for the primetime newscast on Abakwa Television. For presentation, I am Schneider Williams. As part of the government's nationwide push to strengthen security and logistic readiness in all regions in Cameroon, Cameroon's Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Atanganji, arrived Bamenda on Thursday, October 2nd, 2025. Ofan Victory tells us more.
He was received by the governor of the Northwest region, Adolphe Lafrique, alongside administrative security and electoral officials. His visit proceeded Friday, 3rd October 2025, with a meeting with some government officials and the electoral committee, in which the minister stressed that the election is a decisive moment for the nation and reminded all stakeholders of the head of state's directives to ensure stability before, during, and after the polling day. On security, the minister acknowledged the challenges in the region, but reassured the population that the situation was under control. He instructed regional authorities to remain firm and vigilant against any disruptions that might undermine the electoral process. At the SDO's esplanade, he was welcomed by a mass of supporters, with chants and dancing followed. The ceremony started with a welcome address from the city mayor of Bamenda, Paul Achumbong.
If he not trust you, he not give you Cameroon all the ground for manager. Because he trust you begin for this town. He give you from up north to down south, from east to west. So you manage him. It means that you be truthful begin. So we now all man for Bamenda, we go turn around, salute President Bobia, we bring clap.
After which the Minat boss addressed the city.
We have to conquer fear and all forms of intimidation. Cameroon is Cameroon, and President Bobia is head of state. And on the 12th of October, we are giving him a new mandate. So, and I want to end by saying that we are confident in the victory of good over evil.
He concluded his visit by donating provisions to some internally displaced and less privileged persons in Bamenda, a gesture that was much appreciated amid the ongoing socio-economic challenges in the region.
Presidential candidate Cabral Libby brought his campaign trail to Bamenda this week, drawing hundreds of supporters who turned out to listen to his message of change, reconciliation, and economic revival. Details with staff lady Ngashi Sharon.
Arriving in the heart of the Northwest region on Thursday, October 2nd, 2025, Libby was welcomed at the entrance to the town by a cheering crowd of supporters, dance groups and bike riders, many waving party flags and chanting slogans of support and dancing. From there, the entourage proceeded to Quen, where Cabral Libby warmly greeted locals and engaged with traders and shoppers at the bustling markets. He then made his way to the grandstand, the venue for the main event, where a large crowd had gathered to hear him speak.
Because I am convinced that the solution to the Anglophone crisis is not a military solution. I salute the deployment and encouragement of our forces of law in this crisis area. However, I regret the excesses which they might have been forced to commit sometimes, but I know for sure that each soldier, be it the military, gendarmes or police, is animated by a desire of peace. I also know that all with whom I have discussed with want that peace should return to our two Anglophone regions. That is why to us, a state of emergency means stopping everything, if need be, for us to find peace. I have personally come here in Bamenda and I have seen that the economy is down, schools are closed. So, a state of emergency is what I have said if elected.
Promising that if elected, his government will prioritize dialogue and genuine reconciliation. He also underlined his commitment to youth empowerment, job creation and infrastructural development, pledging to give the Northwest region the attention it deserves, emphasizing that a prosperous Cameroon cannot be built if any part of the nation feels abandoned.
As I've said in my speech, I'm convinced that nobody has a miracle solution to end a war. But I also know that everywhere in the world, all the wars come and end by peace agreement. That's why I've said that elected on October 12th, even if it will be necessary to delocalize the presidency to come here, I will do it. Because the main objective, the priority of the priorities is to achieve peace.
His visit comes at a crucial moment in the ongoing presidential campaign, as Bamenda remains a politically sensitive city due to the Anglophone crisis that has plagued the region for years. During his stay was visibly tight throughout his stop in the city, with forces ensuring the campaign event remained peaceful. Residents noted that despite the tensions in the region, the turnout reflected the population's eagerness to hear alternatives for the country's future. Cabral Libi's visit to Bamenda is part of his nationwide tour as he seeks to broaden his base ahead of the presidential election.
The National Union for Democracy and Progress UNDP President Bello Buba Maigari drew enthusiastic crowds in the Adamawa region this week as he continued his national pre-campaign tour ahead of the October presidential election. Sunye Tina gives us details in the report.
The newly formed ABA coalition, bringing together political figures Bello Buba Maigari, Ateki and Akere, continued its nationwide outreach this week with a tour across the North and Adamawa regions. In the span of less than 24 hours, the coalition made stops in Garwa, Gaundere and Gaida, drawing significant crowds. Arriving in Gaundere, the regional capital, Bello Buba was welcomed by party militants, traditional authorities, and community leaders who reaffirmed their loyalty to the UNDP. The rallies were marked by strong participation from local residents, reflecting both curiosity and support for the coalition's message of unity. The tour highlighted coalition's ability to mobilize across different regions and showcase its organizational strength. During his meetings, the longtime politician called for unity and peace while pledging to prioritize economic development, job creation, and infrastructure if given the opportunity to lead the country. He highlighted Adamawa's agricultural and livestock potential as a cornerstone for Cameroon's economic future. His tour of Adamawa follows a similar outreach effort in the East region as the veteran politician seeks to position himself as a key challenger in the upcoming elections.
The 23-member Cameroon under-17 women's national football team, popularly known as U17 Lionesses, left the country in the early hours of Thursday, October 2, 2025 for Casablanca, Morocco, as they gear up for the FIFA U17 Women's World Cup. Our reporter, Ofan Victory, gives us the details.
The young team secured their place in the global tournament by triumphing in the Unifac Central African Regional Qualifiers earlier this year. Their qualifying campaign was marked by a series of commanding victories, including a 9-0 win over the Central African Republic, a 7-1 victory against Gabon, and a 6-0 triumph over the Democratic Republic of Congo, showcasing their offensive strength and determination. The team and their entire staff arrived at the Zenith Hotel in Casablanca, the starting point for the acclimatization training camp in Morocco, and began a muscle warming and physical regeneration session led by the fitness coach.
I cannot just tell you because it's my first time to be here and to be participate to a World Cup. So it's not easy, but I feel good and I know that the same spirit that we are together are going to do it. I can say that the team spirit is one spirit because the way we left and the way we take our plane to come here, so I can say that the spirit that we have here, the determination is together, so we are going to do it.
Tomorrow, the first official training session will take place, led by Coach Dumo Mike. The Under-17 Women's World Cup will run from October 17 to November 8, 2025. Cameroon's first match is scheduled for October 18 against host nation Morocco at the Labi Zaouri Stadium in Casablanca, a game expected to be crucial in setting the tone for the team's World Cup campaign. As they embark on this journey, the Under-17 Lionesses carry the hopes of a nation eager to see its young talent shine on the global stage. Fans and football enthusiasts across Cameroon will be closely watching their performance, anticipating a display of resilience, skill, and determination.
In other news, Fecafoot Sports President Samuel Eto'o convened an important working session this morning with the CEO of 14, the Swiss sportswear company recently appointed as the official equipment supplier for Cameroon's national football teams. The partnership, announced in February 2025, will see 14 provide kits for all national teams, including the men's, women's, and youth squads. This move came after Fecafoot ended contracts with previous suppliers, One All Sport and Le Coq Sportif, who struggled to meet contractual obligations. While details of the meeting have not been fully disclosed, sources say that the session focused on supply timelines, design inputs, and marketing strategies to ensure the national teams are well equipped for upcoming competitions. The South African under-20 male football team secured a commanding victory over New Caledonia in a match vying for the 2025 Under-20 World Cup of October. More in the report with Senior Tina.
African champions South.
This was their second Group E match for the season, which took place at Estadio El Teniente in Rancagua, Chile. The team delivered an outstanding performance against New Caledonia, securing a 5-0 victory, with Siviwe Kwali scoring 3 goals, a penalty converted by Shakil Apre, and Lazola Mako sealing the win in the 80th minute. South Africa dominated possession with 70.2%, taking a total of 38 shots, 11 of which were on target. In contrast, New Caledonia struggled offensively, managing only 2 shots with 1 on goal. Despite the heavy defeat, New Caledonia showed resilience in the opening minutes, creating early threats to the South African defense. This win moves South Africa to 3 points in Group E following their opening match draw. The U20 side now faces the United States on October 5th, while New Caledonia will take on France on October 6th. South Africa's dominant display underscores their ambitions in the tournament, while New Caledonia will need to regroup quickly to avoid an early exit.
As the new school year began on October 1, 2025 in Burkina Faso, Captain Ibrahim Traoré sent a message of encouragement to students, teachers, and education staff across the country. The head of state praised their resilience and sacrifices, stressing that education remains central to the nation's future. He paid special tribute to internally displaced students, assuring them that the government is working to improve security and learning conditions despite ongoing challenges. Our youth are at the heart of our mission, Traoré said, calling the return to school a vital step in building a stronger Burkina Faso. The message comes as insecurity continues to disrupt education, with many schools closed or relocated. Authorities say efforts are underway to reopen classrooms and ensure children can learn in safe environments. Again, in foreign news, Colombia has expelled Israel's entire diplomatic delegation after 2 of its nationals were detained alongside the about 500 activists who attempted to deliver aid to Gaza through a flotilla boat. Gashi Sharon compiled a report for us.
President Gustavo Petro also announced the immediate suspension of a free trade agreement with Israel. Manuela Bedoya and Luna Barreto, both Colombians, were part of the Global Sumut Flotilla's crew. While Pedro had already severed diplomatic relations with Israel in May 2024, his statement went further by ordering any remaining diplomatic representatives to leave Colombian territory immediately. He indicated that the foreign ministry would file lawsuits, including in Israel courts, and urged international lawyers to support the Colombian legal team. President Gustavo Petro condemned the interception as an international crime and called for global action to ensure aid reaches Gaza. Several countries have reacted to the Israeli interception, with Belgium summoning Israel's ambassador after Foreign Minister Maxime Prévost described the move as unacceptable. The Israel Navy said that the flotilla was approaching an active combat zone and violating a legal naval blockade. It said it requested the vessels to divert to the port of Ashdod and reiterated its offer to transfer any aid through established and verifiable channels to Gaza. Israel's ambassador to the UN, Danny Danon, promised all those arrested from the flotilla boats would be deported. He said they entered Israel illegally and violated its sovereignty.
And this brings us to the end of the primetime newscast on Abakwa Television. This news was brought together by the entire English news desk of Abakwa Television. The news was produced by Akongni Brandon under the supervision of the station's manager, King Wills. For presentation, I am Schneider Williams. Thank you for staying tuned and keep watching Abakwa Television for more exciting and educative programs. Good night.